All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Edition of Texas in Color. We're getting active now with the season coming around for elections and all the stuff that's been going on since January, I think 20th. All the chaos that's been going on. I got Justin Parker right here who's going to enlighten us about things that's going on in the military, things you probably don't know about that's happening, but Justin's going to bring it forefront and let us know what's going on. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning, Ron. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, so we talked briefly yesterday, and then we had another Zoom meeting. We're dabbing into what was going on, and can you let the listeners know exactly what direction the military is going, or they don't want to go? It's really hard to say.
Yeah, of course. There's been all sorts of issues that I've been made aware of, and all sorts of issues that's been directly affecting me and some of my other veterans in the community. Um, so for the past couple of months now, you know, s- since January, we've been made aware of that there's going to be shortages and cuts, within the Department of Veteran Affairs. We were warned about it, when Project 2025 was first announced, and we were warned about it. But now that now that things and this administration is in place, we have seen these issues actually start touching some of the members in our community. Um, I want to say I personally in March was made aware that all my primary health care appointments, they all got canceled at the VA.
Mm-hmm.
It was appointments that were scheduled, for the next week. There was appointments that were scheduled out for a couple of months. And if you know anything about the VA, you typically sometimes have to wait months already, just to even schedule appointments. And so, all my appointments literally for this year got canceled. I got literally email after email, just cancellations. Um, and so at the time, I went to an event with Congressman Greg Casar. He was on Texas State University's campus, and I spoke with him directly about it. He told me that, th- hey, it's not surprising to him. He's heard this from so many of his constituents as well. Um, and so and so I'm like, okay, so what can we do about it? Like, are we doing anything about it? And he's telling me, he's like, hey, right now we have to steer the ship. Right now it's ugly. It's going to get uglier. Um, but in the matter of that, still going in to try to get more appointments, it, it's it's like literally fighting a pull out of teeth trying to get appointments at the VA. First, it's with the healthcare. Now, as we're about to start up, classes here within the next 2 weeks. Now, I get an email yesterday from my VA counselor for my education benefits. Tells me, hey, I regret to inform you, there's going to be significant delays with payments on benefits, um, payments for your classes. You may be dropped from courses. Um, and said that their staff that this is because their staff has been cut by over 30%. Um, Said that my VA counselor personally has received thousands of new cases because of the staff shortages and the staff cuts that. So now he's over here with a large caseload and is trying to figure out how can he directly support his group of people. And it's just these are the things that's going on. I have some of my other friends, some of my other classmates. They're going through the same stuff. Some of them just finished up their summer semester with courses unpaid for by the VA at this time. So they're
Mm.
going into the fall semester on balances to their universities because the VA is so far behind with all these shortages and all these cuts. Um, Meanwhile, we have this administration that's still going out there and pushing out tactics, saying that they're coming after disability, they're coming after more veteran benefits, they're coming after more education benefits. This administration has said that they believe that if you are if you are 100% disabled but you are retired, you should not be collecting both. And they also say that, if you're 100% disabled, why do you need to have this many education benefits? Um, Meanwhile, you have service members you have service members and veterans who are using these benefits right now that are struggling just to even make it by. Um, and so, that's what I joined on to talk about today. There's so many cases I've heard, so many people who are, they can't even get dental appointments. They can't get vision appointments. People were like their follow up appointments on just all different types of stuff of what's going on at the VA. People are going to need to see GI doctors, any sort of specialists. They're in backlog for over 8 months. It's truly it, it, it frustrates me. And it's like now, you ride around the streets of Austin, Texas, and you starting to see more and more veterans on the streets.
Yeah.
There's a guy that I've seen pop up, in my neighborhood here recently, within the past month, and he's out there, and he has his flags. He's still waving around, his flags. He's still wearing his uniform, and it's disheartening as they're already going through a lot. They're already fighting with the VA in and out, trying to get on a disability, trying to get their health coverage, trying to get just all the basic services, and now it's just 10 times harder.
So, I'm just summing this up. They gutting the system out, but nothing to replace it. So people, I never been in the military, but I was brought up around the military, and from what my uncles and cousins had spoke to me about, once you served in the military and once you come out, the government said they would take care of you for the rest of your life. You went out, you fought wars, you did all this, you lose limbs and all that stuff, and you're supposed to be taken care of. Now it looks like they're turning their backs on the military, like we don't need you anymore, so you don't need these benefits. And why you need to go to school because you're missing an arm? Well, what? Come on now, that doesn't make any sense. You want to turn around and improve yourself. Number one, when you go in the military and God forbid you lose a limb, you don't want to sit down there, woe is me. You want to try or get educated on something else to fulfill your life. And basically, they want to take that away at one
Yep.
swoop swing. They want to take it away. I think we talked earlier when I said they closed some pharmacies down right here for the veterans to get the medication. So, with that going on and being said, what is it that we could do, or what is it that you could do? Because I'm glad you're on the show to explain that to everybody. What can we do right now?
So one of the things when talking to Rep. Greg Casar, he represents Texas's 35th congressional district. Um, he asked me to gather a group of veterans that are willing to come forward and tell their stories as to what they're of the issues that they're dealing with the VA. If they're also experiencing these backlogs, if they're also getting these notifications that their appointments are getting canceled, if they're not, receiving their education benefits on time, he wants us to all come forward and to share our stories. Right now, the biggest thing that we can do is talk about it, because right now they're saying they kept on putting out this narrative. They said, no, we're not coming for your benefits. We're not coming. This won't affect the veterans. This won't affect our armed forces. But yet we're seeing this, and we're seeing it happen. And well, I can tell my story. There's thousands of veterans that don't have the time and don't have the ability to go out and tell their stories right now. Some of them they're trying to figure out how can they get food on the table for their kids. They're trying to figure out how can they find a roof, uh, and find a place to sleep. And so it's just, so if you have that ability to join us and tell your story, we're going to tell our story, there's because as of right now there's like it makes no sense, and they keep on going out into the media. They keep on going out into the press and talking about No, 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 no. We are not touching the VA. We're not touching our veterans. You know, we are the party that represents our veterans. We are the party that puts veterans first. Meanwhile, right here, directly on the ground, and what we're seeing in our communities, and you know, I'm talking about it, you know, from a couple of different aspects, but you know, just even talking about it here from a student aspect as well. Um, at ACC, you know, I go to Austin Community College, and I also go to Texas State University. Both campuses, both universities, this has affected both of our Student Veterans of America's chapters. Um,
Mm.
they have now they've gotten to a point to where they're asking us to fundraise for the chapter this year. So any sort of that support and that funding that would have came in from the university or that would have came in from the federal government, that is gone. Um, when you're talking about, you know, putting that connection, what for for some people who may not know or may not be familiar with what the Student Veterans of America, what they do, they prepare, you know, student veterans to, you know, whenever they graduate, to be ready to go into the workforce. They also, you know, help them with, you know, getting them connected with the VE. They help them manage that caseload and be like, hey, oh, you're missing out on your healthcare benefits, or you're missing out on processing this with transportation, or these other resources. Now
Yeah.
with that funding gone, they're having to cut their personnel in their offices, and so now we have an empty military families support center here on campus because there's no funding, and so now students they're here looking around. They're like, hey, I'm a student veteran. I just enrolled. What do I do? Who do I look for? How do I get? You know, I'm trying to get registered for classes. You know, the VA is telling me this. Meanwhile, what? You know, I'm going through the whole 9 yards. What can I do? And so right now, we really just have to focus on gathering a group of people, coming together, tell our stories. Reach out to your local members of Congress. Reach out to, and you can go online. You can go to Who Represents Me, and you can type in your address in there. It'll tell you your list of representatives on, you know, on the congressional level, the state senate, and your state house of representatives. It'll tell you all the way down to that local level. Um, but start contacting your elected officials. Start contacting them. Send them emails. Call their offices. Let them know, hey, I just got a notification. My appointments are canceled. What can I do? I tried calling the VA, tried to get more appointments. They told me the nearest appointment is not going to be until February of next year. They
Wow.
need to know that this is going on. They need, like, speak up. You have to talk about it, because if you're not talking about it and you think that this is normal, I'm sorry to tell you, but this is not normal. This is not normal at all. And so you have to speak up. Start speaking up, telling them, hey, we are experiencing delays. I you know I have people who have told me that they have gotten their primary care physician changed over 4 times in the past 6 months. And it makes no sense. But that's why,
Mm.
because of all these shortages and all these cuts. Now you see your physicians and your doctors getting cut left or right, or they're getting reassigned to different locations, and so, you know, you have to speak up. I know that the representative, he spoke about, you know, bringing the veterans together, holding a press conference, and really hitting them right there in the media, and talking about what's going on, because it it's really getting to a point.
Well, I tell you what, Texas in Color could do this for you. This is a platform that you can use. You want to bring people on to talk about this issue? We're an open book. You come on here anytime. You call me up and say, Ron, I got 6 people want to come on and tell their story. Done. It's done. Because we got to get the word out. Some type of way we got to get the word out. And I want to touch on a point where you said call the representatives who have that. I'm going to say it. And it's going to piss some people off. But one of your representatives or majority of them may be on that side to cut everything. So how you going to talk to somebody that don't want to listen? You know. So how do we do that? What's the next step? If that person don't, actually, to tell you the truth, there's procedures, but if when you start climbing that ladder, going up that procedures, the way it is now, you're gonna keep on running to brick walls until you find somebody to listen. And the only way that they're gonna listen is something happened to somebody in their own families when they open their eyes. Right now, they don't care. Let's call it what it is. You don't care. You promise we won't do this. We promise we won't do that. But yet, Justin, I just gotta say, how can they look you in the eye and say we're not going to do it? On the other hand, they're doing it. That just doesn't
Exactly.
make any sense, man.
And it it kind of it it fathoms me because it's just I was just in DC earlier this year, and every year Student Veterans of America they have this Washington Week, where you go up to the Capitol and you start talking to your members of Congress. You start telling them, hey, this is what's on the Student Veterans of America's legislative priorities for the year. You start talking to them like about expanding just different stuff, whether that be the PAC Act, whether that be VRE benefits, whether that, you start talking to them about, hey, we need this expansion on the GI Bill because of X, Y, and Z. You start talking to them about how, what's happening on the ground, and start bringing them start bringing them stories as to like what you're learning about other people that's in the community that are struggling to make ends meet because the VA benefits aren't enough. And so when you're sitting up here and you're telling them these stories and you're telling them about constituents that's directly there in their districts, and they're taken back, or they pretend to be taken back, um, and they say, well, we're gonna make sure that we focus on this. We're gonna make sure that we actually try to address these things. And then later on this year, you see it's being brought back up, and you see that they're about to pass this bill, and they're voting on this bill to go ahead and slash these benefits away. You see them going up there and they're talking about this stuff. It makes no sense. And I want people to know that this is not just a it's not just a federal thing. You look directly here in the state of Texas. Um, Earlier this year, it was brought to my attention that there was going to be a bill that's going to be introduced where they're looking at scholarships. They're looking at scholarships that are classified as DEI scholarships, um, and it's about $2.2 billion worth of scholarships. Um, and when a lot of people hear about the DEI scholarships, they hear, oh, they're coming after black and brown students. It's way further than that.
Oh yeah.
Way further than that. If you're not considered a white male in America and you're a student and you're going to school, they're coming after you. They're coming after your scholarships. If you're a disabled student, if you're a woman, if you are a first generation student, if you're a veteran, they're coming after your scholarships. They're coming after all of that, and they want to take that $2.2 billion and pour it right back into the hands of universities and let the universities figure out what they're going to do with that. Whether that means that that's going back into the chancellor's pocket, but as of right now, they're taking that money and they're taking it out of the hands of students. Um, and so it's quite ridiculous. While our governor is sitting over here, he's focused on trying to remove members from the House because they're protesting the maps being redrawn. Well, this is exactly why we're putting up this fight, because you're coming after so many different things. You're coming
Yeah.
after our healthcare. You're coming after our veterans. You're coming after our students. You're coming after we're still talking about school vouchers. You're still coming after all these different things, and now you're over here playing playing games with our politics.
Yes.
And that's one of the biggest things that I keep telling people is that they're playing games with our lives right now. Right now, they're going in here, they're calling these special sessions, they're issuing arrest warrants and all this stuff. Meanwhile, you got people that's still struggling to make ends meet. You got still people that's sitting here 67 years old, and you can't and completely 100% disabled, and you can't return to work, but yet you have no sort of support as far as trying to get access to healthcare, access to getting prescriptions.
Hmm. They lack that empathy. That's what they lack. I'm gonna say it. They have no empathy. They look at things black and white. Cut them. And one thing I want to say about the military part of it, and I don't know nobody even said this. This is not a black or white thing. This is a military thing. And when you start attacking the military, you're attacking the ones that's you have an opportunity to walk the streets free. You have the opportunity to do things you want to do because of the military. And now you want to cut all that away and you expect nobody not to say anything. Well, I'm sorry. They're in for a rude awakening because um, we thought the last cycle election, we woke up everybody. I think this cycle right here, we're waking up people little by little, and the voices are going to get louder, louder, and louder too. You know, I know I'm jumping around because I got things going on in my head, but they can't even hold a town meeting because they know they're going to get pushback. Now that's sad. You talking about you for the people, they put you there, but you don't want to listen to the people. You know, so this is blowing back on them harder than what they think. When you sit down, you can't go out in public and sit down and have lunch somewhere else. Somebody says, "Oh, so you're the one that did all that." You know, they're gonna find you, and I think that's what they're scared of. They're scared to hear the truth, and the truth is, I'm gonna say it, they're screwing up. So, um, I'm gonna extend my invitation a little more, Justin. If you get a panel together and you find a room to hold a panel discussion, I will come up there and supply all the PA speakers, microphones, and record everything. If you get anything like that going on, I'll be right there for you so we get the word out.
Yeah, I appreciate that offer, and I'll definitely take you up on that. We need to get this done, and we need to let the people know what's going on because, like I said, I'm here today. I'm able to smile. I'm able to talk about it. I'm able to share my story. But there's hundreds and thousands of others across the country who are going through these issues, and they don't have the time in their day to sit up here and to talk about it. They're struggling. We're trying to fight to survive right now, and they're trying to figure out, literally how they're going to feed their kids, how they're gonna make it back home,
Yeah.
and it's just it's ridiculous.
You think this is bad? Oh, what they're doing right now? Wait till they attack Social Security, because I know that's next on their hit list. They say they're not, but they are because they're messing with the military now. Now, when you mess around with Social Security, what affects every American in the United States, it's gonna be a lot of pushback. I have no clue what the idiots are thinking of. Who put them up? Who gassed them up to come up with some of this stuff? I don't get it. What is their agenda? You know, it's really hard to say what their agenda is because I don't think they know what it is. They just want to get up there and do this and do that, yeah, and stand like we big and proud. But they got to remember one thing. One thing they got to remember. One day, you will not have this power be able to do what you're doing. It's going to come back on you. And your grandkids going to come back and let you know, Grandpa and Grandma, how did y'all let this happen? You know, because the pushback is going, I may not see it in my lifetime, but it's going to come back and bite them in the butt bad. And then that's when they're going to try, well, they're good for twisting things anyway. So I'm waiting for that time to come. I hope it comes on the mid-election in 2026. I hope that time comes then for Americans to push back, say, no, enough is enough. That's it. So we got a lot of things going on that we want to do. Do you want to address anything else about? No, well, I'm going to address what you said. When you said that you're constantly losing, they taking things away, different doctors, things being pushed back. If anybody know, if you're a veteran, make an appointment, whether it's dental, doctor, whatever. It's not like I pick up the phone and call and you come in tomorrow. It takes a long time. And for you to tell your story on how it's taken, how do you think other people out there have been having appointments all this time and all of a sudden it's taken away? And some of the appointments are are life threatening surgeries and all this stuff that nobody's really looking at. You know, so I I hate to say it. What can we do? I don't know what we could do right now because they pretty well doing whatever they want to do. As they say, do as I say and say as I do.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, it's just like you said. Whenever you're going on there to schedule an appointment, you have to go to the VA's website. You have to have an account. You have to sign in, go through that, and press. Schedule the appointment. Then you have somebody that calls you. You have somebody that you have to wait for someone to call you. And then when they call you, then you tell them your availability, and they go based off of that, and then they start looking around for them. Um, as you know, some facilities, they tell you right now when you get on the VA's website on some of their campuses, it'll tell you that right now primary care appointments are taking anywhere from 3 to 6 months to get scheduled. They tell you if you're looking at getting a specialist, that's anywhere from nine to 12 months. How is it that we're sitting up here, we're waiting a year to see a specialist? We're waiting a year to see a specialist. I need that to register through people's head right now. If you need to go to a cardiovascular,
Yeah.
you have to wait a year before you can get an appointment.
Mm.
And then once you do have that appointment scheduled, you're coming out to that less than 30 days, less than 2 weeks, and then poof, that appointment is canceled.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And for people who are also wondering what can you do, but like, and you're hearing about this, and if this is something that might not directly affect you, but you're hearing about this, and you're like, oh, this makes me mad. This makes me want to do something about it. We need to have that same energy that we had, and in 2020 when folks were running and they were stepping up and they said, hey, you know what? Let me run. Let me do something about this. Let me step up in my local community and let me run for
Yeah.
office and figure out how can I make a change? How can I make a difference? And if you're listening to these stories, you're reading what's going on, you're staying up to date as to what's going on, and you're involved in your community, do it. Step up, run. We need people to step in and fight. It, we need people who are going to sit up there and fight for the people, because right now they're fighting for their own self-interest. They're fighting for what's gonna make them go up higher. What's gonna get them reelected. That's what they're currently doing. If that means that they get an endorsement from the president for their next election, then that's what they're gonna vote whichever way he tells them.
Yeah.
So we need people who are going to step up and that are going to run, who are willing to put in the work, who are willing to fight. There's a lot of young people with a lot of potential. There's a lot of people in America who have so many different diverse stories and so many different diverse backgrounds that they can talk about and represent our communities, and they'll be willing to go in there and fight. Do it. And if you need that extra support, I know, I'm a I'm a student veteran, but outside of classes, I'm a veteran business owner as well. Um, and with my business, I do photography and videography. If you're a candidate and you're looking for help and you're looking for support, and you need anyone to do pictures, do campaign ads, commercials, anything like that, I'm willing to do that for you, because we need people who are going to push the threshold. We need people who are going to step in and make a difference on day one. We need people who are going to represent and fight for our veterans. We need people who are going to fight for higher education. We need people who are going to fight for our public health care, because right now with the way we're going, it's only going to continue to get worse. So if you see that, hey, there's no one that's running, come think about it. Think about it.
Yes.
Be willing to put your foot out there.
Yeah. We got somebody from chat saying, how our ongoing staff shortage within the VA affiliated with health care and benefits, and how can veterans respond to this concern?
So with the shortages, they're affecting so many different veterans. How veterans can respond to this is, they can put in that request for a new appointment. Um, you know, whether that's calling the VA hotline and scheduling that new appointment, or getting online and trying to get that appointment scheduled. Go and take that first step and making that call. Once you make that call, you have that appointment scheduled. Reach out to your local member of Congress. Call their
Yeah.
office or call your United States senator and let them know, hey, due to the cuts, my appointments have been canceled. Due to the cuts, I'm not able to get any help right now. That is what they're elected to do. They are elected to represent you. They're elected to be a liaison between you and the Veteran Affairs Office, and they're supposed to put in that request and like ask, hey, is it, I have this constituent that's in my community. They have been waiting for 8 9 months for an appointment, and their appointments keep getting canceled. Who's the head of this? Who's the head of this office? And what's going on? What's going on? How can we get them an appointment? That's what they're elected to do. They're elected to serve you and to represent you. And so, if you're dealing with those difficulties and getting those appointments, or you're waiting forever to hear back from the VA as far as your benefits, and whether that's your health care, whether that's your education benefits, reach out to your local member of Congress, reach out to your senator, put in that request. They have to do something about it. And if they're not doing anything about it, as we've seen with Ted Cruz, um, his office is notorious for doing that, for veterans reaching out, requesting assistance. There was a story about a veteran who was awaiting, their family was awaiting burial benefits and burial assistance,
See,
and his staff just completely dropped the ball on that. And if, in those instances like that, where your elected official is not doing anything, speak up about it, talk about it. And while one might not be doing it, you call the other one. Call John Cornyn. Then if neither one of them are doing it, you need to start calling whoever it is that can help you, because right now we have to fight for ourselves. Right now we have to fight to make sure that we're represented and that we're going to have the people helping us, because as of right now, they're, like I said earlier, they're playing with our lives, and
yeah.
they're playing with our livelihoods. They don't care because they're not dealing with it. They don't care because they're not the ones that's going through it. They don't care because they don't have brothers and sisters that they served with in the armed forces that have returned back home now, and are struggling with their day-to-day lives. They're struggling with their mental health, and they're receiving calls saying that their brother and sister in armed forces is no longer here with us because they took their life due to a mental health crisis. They don't get those calls. They don't deal with that stuff. So speak up. Call your representatives.
Yeah, I got when you said they called a representative, I got the address and phone number for the headquarters of the Republican Party of Texas. So if you want to go down there and speak your mind, that's 807 Brazos Street, Suite 701, Austin, Texas. And if you want to give them a phone call, it's 512-477-9821. So that's the number right there you call. If you can't get a hold of them, your local one, here's the one. Here it is right here for the state. So I would suggest start it right there. If you want to know what you can do, call them. Try to speak to them. I guarantee you, they're gonna give you the runaround. Well, nobody's in right now. Well, it's mighty funny you in all the time to put something out there, but you're not in to listen to us. Remember, we the people. Let's almost say we the people. So, but that's some stuff right there. So, let me see if we got any other comments.
And if you're trying to call Senator Cruz's office, you're going to be in for a hard time. You start calling any of his offices, you're going to receive that nice little voice message when you call and say, "Thank you for calling office of Senator Ted Cruz. We're unavailable right now. You can leave a voicemail." I want you to speak up and talk about how long it takes you for that office to call you back. How long it's going to take you to get an email back. There are some offices who are willing to help if you're not getting that response back from your senator. So if you need to call other states, if you need to call other members of Congress, reach out to their offices, and when they ask, have you already reached out for congressional support for it, let them know, yes, I reached out to my local member of Congress. Yes, I reached out to my senator, and he did nothing about it.
And like I said, the national committee is located at 310 First Street, Southeast Washington, D.C. So there's places you can reach out to. What's it, Mr. Joe Gunthers? He's a treasurer. So I'm looking up all this. All the information is right there for everybody. Everything is right here. It's just you always trying to, like you said, your first step is to call them, and then you get that message, and they're not gonna call you back because they don't want to hear it. You know, when you're wrong, you're wrong. That's the bottom line. So I'm just pretty sure that this guy probably got millions of calls he have not returned the years he's been senator and stuff. So election cycle is coming up again, at least the midterms. So that's the time. See, let's speak about that. People need to look up and see in November, I think it's November 4th, 2026. If you're going to run for Congress or Senate, you should have already done it. But now's the time to go ahead and start taking action and start doing it. I would love to see a lot of young people step up and start running. Whether you win or lose, get to see how this is at and let it motivate you to keep on going, because you got to keep on. You just can't stop one time. Okay, maybe it wasn't for you this time around. But you know what? We got to keep on pushing, keep on pushing. We can't just sit back and say, "Oh well, we lost. That's done." No. We have to keep on going at it. Our ancestors rolling in their graves right now because we're not going after it like they did. So, ooh, I'm going to get on a tangent right here, Justin. So, okay, are there any organizations that can help out the veterans?
Yes, sir. So if you're having difficulties with the VA and you're having difficulties reaching out to your members of Congress and stuff like that, I want you to reach out to Travis. If you're here in Austin, you can reach out to Travis County Veteran Services. They're over on Airport Boulevard. They return calls. They answer calls all the time. You can give them a call at 512-854-9340. That's the Travis County Veteran Services Office. Because I know that right now, the Austin VA is overloaded right now. The Austin VA it has been taking months. It has been taking quite some time to get appointments, to get you processed in their system. So yeah, reach out to Travis County Veteran Services if you're here in Austin. If you're here in the state of Texas, you can reach out to the Texas Veterans Commission. They have their liaisons that they're typically able to help and assist with getting you in touch with the right people. They, you know, whether that's you starting your education benefits, whether that's you getting your healthcare, entrepreneurship, any one of those aspects. Reach out to the Texas Veteran Commission. Their phone number is 512-463-6564. That's 512-463-6564. That's the Texas Veterans Commission. They are willing to give you as much work as possible. I've met some of the amazing folks over there at some of other meetings I've been to in the community, and right now they have a large caseload, but they're helping as many veterans as possible. So
Okay. All right, I'm gonna extend the invitation out to you. I'd like to have you on here a lot more. Maybe we could do something once a month, and maybe you can bring some people on board with you, so we can see how things are going. And we know things are going downhill, but there's got to be an upside somewhere down the line. But we like to stay in contact with you to see what's going on, because Texas is a military state, and and right down the road in San Antonio, you call it Military USA. So we like to keep everybody abreast and what's up to date. And if you're willing to do that, I'm willing to take it on, Justin.
Yes, sir. I'll be more than happy to.
Okay. All right, sir. Any closing remarks before we let you go?
No, sir. That's all I have for you. For those that may be discouraged after hearing this, just know that the fight continues. There's people who are trying to speak up for you. There are people who are trying to fight for you. There are people who care. And right now, I know it might be hard. I know it might be difficult to continue to try to push through and try to make it, especially when you know that things are uncertain. Especially when you know, hey, you have your grandma and she's not able to get on Medicare or Medicaid right now. If you know you have your brother who served 23 years in the armed forces and he's fighting with the VA to try to get on health benefits, just know that there are people who are fighting for you. There are people who are willing to put in the work for you. Speak up, share your stories, come forward and let the world know what's going on. And I promise you, it will get better. It will get better. But there are people here who will support you. There are people here who care. There are people here who will do the impossible to make things possible for you. So just keep up the fight. Keep your head up. Right now, things might be difficult. Like as you see, I'm sitting here, I'm smiling.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know when the VA is going to pay for my classes. They might get dropped. But hey, we got to keep pushing.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, sir. So thank you for taking the time out to come on and let us know exactly what's happening. Looking forward next month to talking again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.